Alrighty. Hello, everybody. We are here today to talk about, are you busy or are you productive? We all know that as entrepreneurs, especially if we are solopreneurs or very small teams, we're probably sitting in busy very often, but don't necessarily know how to get us out of busy. How do we turn into productive? How do we make the most of our time? I know, Michelle, we're going to get into it in a minute, but I know my whole career, whether I was in corporate or I was an entrepreneur, I have seen so many articles telling me these are the ways that you become productive. These are the habits. These are the 5 a.m. clubs. These are the 25-minute Pomodoro techniques. But they don't really address the underlying issues. So we're going to start there. Like, what is causing busyness? Is it the badge of honor in entrepreneur land that a lot of people make it out to be, and then go from there? But first, not all of our audiences know each other or ourselves. So, Michelle, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you.
So I am Michelle MacNeil. I'm a systems business coach / accidental hobby farmer. I help business owners that are too successful to quit but too overwhelmed to enjoy it support their operations with effective, simple systems. And Chrissy, what do you do?
I love it. Business coach and consultant for service providers who are at that point of the business is working. How do we make it better? So you and I are very similar, which is why I'm so excited for this, because we're very similar in what we do, but we approach things from a different perspective. And I think your speak is systems, my speak is structure. They're very oftentimes the same thing, but the perspective of how do you scale it? How do you grow it? So I hope women service providers get out of the weeds and get into the rest of their lives, because the business is finally working in a place where they're not running every single piece of it.
Yes. We don't go into business expecting to work 80 hours a week for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I worked in hotels before this. I left hotels in part because I was tired of being on call. I did revenue management. I was on call all the time. I got calls at 10 o'clock on Friday nights. I didn't want that. I didn't want to work the 70-hour weeks as a baseline. And yet I know I found myself the first few years in business working 50, 60, and my brain wouldn't shut off. I was always busy. The to-do list never was done. There was no like closing up shop and being like, wow, Chris, you did really well this week. Like, we got it done. There was always more to do with nowhere near enough time or energy to get it done. So curious question, because I think a little part of today is us also just like riffing on the things we want to talk about. If you are live with us and have questions, please let us know. If you are catching the replay, comment your questions, and one if both of us will respond to you. But when you transitioned into your own business, did you get caught up in the busyness more than you did in your previous role?
Oh, yeah. In my previous role, the priorities and the things I was supposed to be working on were clear as day. They were given to me. They were mapped out. Go do the thing, Michelle. I did the thing. When it's my own business, it's like, hey, now I have to do all the things, but yet not knowing quite what all the things are. So doing all the things I think I should be doing, plus some extra things that probably sound like a good measure for a business owner, plus trying to Google it all and figure it out on my own. When I look back at my calendar, when I first started doing this, like, I booked myself like I was working a 9 to 5 with, you're doing this at this time and this and this. None of it got done. But I was very busy.
My days in corporate were very structured because of meetings. Hotels live and die by meetings that are unnecessary and could have been done with a phone call, like not even an email, a 5-second phone call. But there was so much structure and regimen to this is the work that gets done on Monday, on Tuesday, here are the deliverables and the deadlines and all the things. I tried bringing that into my business at the get-go, but that doesn't always work depending on the season of business you're in. And I think I'm kind of queuing this up for later, but I also want to talk about the fact that your structures, your systems, your busyness, and your productivity will look different at different points in your business. Okay, so because I'm going to get ahead of myself because my brain is whirring today. I'm a really big fan of just setting the tone and making sure that we're all working off of the same understanding. So I am curious, how do you define busy versus productive?
Oh, busy versus productive. I feel like no one decides to be busy, but it's what happens when there's no structure or systems filtering what gets your attention. And then if you can't tell me what you did this week that is moving your business forward in a very specific way, you probably spent your week being busier than productive.
I love that. I'm taking that.
Okay. Want to get nerdy on it and have some accountability? What'd you do this week that is moving your business forward strategically?
So for me, I closed a couple of client deliverables and that moved it forward because there's space opening up now. And then also my follow-up. I have dedicated real time this week and have some dedicated tomorrow on following up with open leads.
I love it. Follow-up was on my productive list this week too. And I am prepping for a summit that I'm taking part in. So those were my productive pieces to this week. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to shoot it back to you. What were your busy pieces this week?
And you know what? There's a place for busy. I've had a bumpy couple of weeks. So there were some days this week where I was like, you know what? I got a whole crap list of things that need to get done and no brain power to do bigger things. And so I got some of the little things done, those 5-minute things. Shitty shit. And there's a place for that. And so, yeah, I use that when necessary, but it's determining how much time goes to each as well.
I like it.
What about you? Anywhere you were busy this week?
I'm trying to think because I have had half of my Tuesday was taken up with personal dog appointments. Part of my Wednesday was taken up with personal appointments. So I don't have a dedicated answer for you, but I'm going to go ahead and say catch-all admin of stuff that did not need to be done on Tuesday and Wednesday. But again, like my focus, I spent 7 hours Tuesday on a dog thing. My focus Tuesday morning was honestly just the dopamine hits of how many things can I get checked off that it's a clear list that I can just focus on the big stuff that matters when I have the capacity for it Wednesday afternoon through Friday. So similar of that catch-all kind of responding to emails of, no, I am not interested, unsubscribe me. Or actually reading through emails that I'm learning from that I have not looked at in 2 weeks because it hasn't been high enough priority. But 10 minutes waiting in the doctor's office, I can get through it and it feels good.
I love having those queued up for those moments so I don't wind up doom scrolling because it's such a trap sitting at the doctor's office, sitting somewhere. I love having good stuff queued up. I'm teaching a business plan development cohort right now. And one of my favorite things is that instead of like at night, I don't doom scroll. I will scroll through business plans and nerd out as hard as I can on these people's business plans because what's in there is better than what's in the doom scroll and the headlines. And that might be a boundaries thing on my side. I don't care. It makes me happy to read through business plans at night. And then I'm not going to bed thinking about the doom and gloom of the world.
One, that is like the nerdiest thing you ever could have said. And I love it. And I'm here for it completely. And two, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is a boundary issue. But for me, that is the perfect example of productive?
Mhm.
Because also you have a farm, you have a very different daily routine and requirements than a lot of us do. And I think that's a really great segue into productive isn't how much stuff do you get done. It's not what's the biggest ROI. It's not necessarily just metric based. It's, are you productive in the capacity and the bandwidth that you have? So like if you have to work nights and that's where you're most productive, great, do it. Like don't force yourself into what you think it's supposed to look like or what other people are telling you is right, because that's an easy red flag of you're being busy because you think it's supposed to be done this way.
Exactly. And so many of us go in with like these preconceived notions of what business is supposed to look like. And so I like telling people that beyond breaking the law and paying your taxes, there's no wrong answer to how you're running your business if it works for you. And it's like we forget we have that flexibility because we're seeing the way everyone else does it. And then productivity builds freedom and flexibility. If you are strategic about how you're being productive with your time and maximizing what you can do with your time, you start to build in those freedom pieces that we all go into business expecting. And then it's like, oh, wait, this doesn't just come with freedom.
I'm going to, I don't know if it's a challenge or if it's a clarification. So you said maximize your time. I disagree with that. I think it's about the optimization, not necessarily.
That's a better word.
Right? Not how much stuff can we jam in, how much, because I think when we look at the maximization or like, again, that busy, 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 do the things, we get into output focus of I can put out 5 LinkedIn posts this week. I can put out 2 emails this week. I can be on 18 different networking opportunities this week. I can But if you're just being busy and you're just generating more and more and more and more without looking at the end result and like following the thread through at the same time while taking a seat back and thinking, oh, actually that felt good. I had that space in my day, right? I will use myself as an example and I'm going to call myself out on this. Today has been a little bit of a cluster. I had calls booked. I don't typically have the personal energy to have more than like 3 calls a day. I need to move too much. I don't want to be in front of my screen. I had calls from 10:45 this morning straight through to this that is supposed to end in 40 minutes. That is 5+ hours of straight calls. Part of it was bad scheduling on my part. Part of it was things that happened this week that needed to be shifted. I was not super productive today because I did not have the systems and the structure to fully support the things that needed done. I was busy. Your girl was moving all damn day today. I've gotten so many steps in. But when we're looking at the optimization of what are we getting done? How are we getting it done? What's actually moving the needle? Luckily, I can say the things that got done today did move the needle. They were all necessary. And I know my butt is dragging tonight at 7:00. I know I'm not the one cutting the grass tonight. I'm making the husband do it. It's my week, but he's going to do it. But so question to you. How do you, either personally and or recommendation, how do you catch yourself in those busy moments? How do you identify it? And then how do you pull yourself out of it?
So I keep my to-do list pretty tight because if I get the opportunity to squirrel easily, I will likely do it. And I'll start chasing little rabbit holes on other things. And I know this about myself. So I really try to make sure I have time for those like busy pieces, like just a quick chunk of time where I know I don't have to touch my email because I got 20 minutes after the next call to just bang them out and forget about it. So I don't use my good brain power for those things when I need it. But I try to lead with the productive because then when things happen, lifes, the farms, things go off the rails a little bit. If you lead with productive, the busy can fit in almost anywhere you need it to. But the productive lets you be like, okay, does that busy stuff need to be done right now? Or can it wait till today's Thursday? Can it wait till Monday? Can it wait till tomorrow? But if I focus on getting the productive done, then if a fence goes down and I got animals everywhere, it's like, well, busy stuff can wait. Productive stuff is done. I have nothing to think about than going to fix that fence because that's what's the most important thing in front of me right now. And productive allows that to happen at any given time other than like, booked client appointments and things like that. So productive gives me the opportunity to allow the busy to fit if and where it fits.
Okay, love it. How do you identify the productive?
Right in front of me, as I always have, is my notebook that has my goals on it, the things I'm accomplishing this week, and my list of needle movers. On another page, I have my list of busy crap that I always keep for those 5 minutes or wherever it fits in. I do a lot of emails from the school pickup line, so I don't know what I'm going to do throughout summer. We'll figure it out.
You're just going to drive her back and forth to school.
But I just keep it right in front of my face. So as I start to if I get pulled away by my phone, it's right in front of my face all the time because that's what works for my brain.
I like it. I keep my busy not out of sight, but not in front of my face.
Okay, this is my productive. Busy is...
Okay. Sorry.
It's around, not in front of my face, because I will go down that rabbit hole.
But I like the productive. Like that is one thing. I'm a big physical pen and paper person. I try and do some stuff digitally, but my to-do list, my goals, all of that needs to be physically written down. Mm-hmm. A couple years ago, I implemented the weekly goals of Sunday night or Monday morning for me. What are the things that like the bare minimum? What's the productive? And then scheduled in time blocks to make that happen because that works for my brain of scheduling those blocks in. Mm-hmm. And then leaving the space and also trying not to jam in the busy, like segmenting out the now, soon, later priorities of the busy. So when you do have those 5-10 minutes, it still feels like you're being productive because you're doing something that at some point is going to do something for your business, for yourself, etc. But you're not then taking 5 of those 10 minutes trying to figure out what it is you're trying to do.
Yes.
And just wasting time.
Those little 5-minute pockets add up and compound throughout your week, your month, your quarter, your year. It's insane how quickly they can add up. And the bandwidth it takes each time you're doing it too is just insane. Okay, you said adding extra space. I love this. Tell me more about what added space on your calendar looks like, because I have a whole system I put in mine.
I can almost guarantee mine needs help from yours, so I'm excited for your answer. But mine really does literally look like, this is going to be nerdy, blocking fun. Like for a time period, it was Wednesday afternoons. It's not Wednesday afternoons anymore. Literally going into my calendar, and 1 to 4 was this beautiful green fun and play. Where sometimes I ended up working because stuff needed to get done, life, business. But also, like, that's when I planted my garden. That's when I read through Fourth Wing. That's when I hand carved whatever I was carving at the time. Putting in one big pocket of time helped me remember not only I need space, but also it gets into the mindset of, hey, like I've been doing this 6 years. I have a pretty good handle on myself as a business owner, what I need, where my weaknesses are, etc. I need the reminder sometimes of you are the primary asset. So chill, go be a human being, come back when you're better. So it's that middle of the week, right in front of my face. Do not block anything around this. Go have fun. And then the second way I do it is all of my calendar appointments. And again, today was a bad example because things happened.
There's always exceptions to our rules.
Always exceptions. But every single one of my booking types has a 15-minute buffer on either side, so that I don't get into the habit of you and I have this call and then I have a client call and then I did. It's baked in and I forget that it's there. That helps a lot. One, some of my calls go over. Mm-hmm. Two, I really like to keep in the brain space. So like, for example, after a client call, I will write up whatever notes and send them whatever I need to immediately after, so that then not only is it fresh, it's the best it's going to be, it's done.
It doesn't hit your to-do list because it is to done.
Correct. And you don't have to then, because again, it's that a little bit of the task switching. Mm-hmm. And also it's that mental load of, oh crap, did I actually give her everything I said I was going to give her? I don't know. Let me go back to the notes, go back to the Zoom summary, You have 15 extra minutes. Here, it's done. I don't have to worry about it. I can fully close that part of my brain and move on to the next thing. So those are my two biggest ways. Tell me the full system. I know there's more.
So, well, and it kind of started with we're 12 minutes out of town and we're out of the bus region. So I have to drive the kid to and from school, which is great start and finish to my day. Most days, 2 evenings I work because my clients have busy lives as well. So for after school pickup, I have like a big block, especially for those nights that I work evenings. So I got a big block where we get to deep it from the day, have fun. I get to just do the things. And then actually with the summer, I am playing with only having 2 days that clients can book in. So the rest is like business development, personal development, fun. And so I also have automatic buffer time in between client meetings. And I set up my week, usually Sunday night or Monday morning as well. And anything that's not booked gets blocked. You cannot book me week of unless you email me and I see if it fits. There is no getting in week of because I need that set. Because again, I have unpredictability. So I block anything that's left. Actually, back in the fall, so late 2025, I had spent a ton of time refining my systems, putting things into place. I don't do well in the winter. So I just dug in and just built amazing things that were going to help me in the busy season. And I got to a point where everything was doing its thing. And I was in that lull of waiting for the results to come in. And I was whining to my coach about, I just don't know what else I need to do. Like I've got this and I've got this. And she's like, okay, but what do you do for you? And I was like, well, I got the farm and I got this. And she's like, no, what do you do for you? And she gently told me I needed a damn hobby before I lost my mind. And so now I have hobby time as well. But it was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do with my extra time? That doesn't feel productive. And she's like, it will be more productive the more you do it. And I was like, well, I don't like that answer. That answer makes me feel things.
Nosy question before, what's the hobby?
I started crocheting. Oh. And I started with just some dishcloths because, hey, square and simple. And then I made some really cute chicken coasters, which were a nightmare. Adorable. My hobby needs my brain to be able to turn off. Mm-hmm. And doing that, too much effort. I now make blankets because it's the same thing across. And I can completely turn my brain off. I can watch TV. I can do whatever. I am a blanket maker.
I love it. That's awesome. I also need my hobbies to be something that is not so much mindless, but something that is very physical and will get my brain to just chill.
Exactly. I'm not thinking about business when I'm getting through the line. Like it's so nice. And I need something to do with my hands or else doom scrolling. Like yeah.
Well, and I will not take us long on this tangent, but I find because the busyness and the products, your brain is whirring all day long. I need something that is physical. So I wood carve, I whittle.
That's so cool.
I'm excited. It is mindless enough, especially depending on what it is that I'm carving. But it also requires just enough level of brain that my brain is not then thinking in the background of all of the things that it can or should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a knife, right? So like my brain has to be aware enough that like here's my thumb and here's the knife, but not so much that I'm like worried. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about the thing that I'm doing. I'm not chainsaw carving a bear out of a trunk.
Which would be pretty cool though.
Right? Like I kind of want to get to that point. I don't know that I have the skill to do that. I'm just going to stick with like little hearts and gnomes right now, but it's fine.
I actually know someone in BC that does big sculpture carvings. I can always connect you if you want to go down that route in like a nerdy tangent.
I love this. Yes, please. I will legitimately sit and watch YouTube videos of the people, like the carvers doing that for hours and just have that on in the background. Rather, it's either those YouTube videos or Modern Family on in the background if I need noise.
Yeah.
Okay. We will take that offline and talk about all of the.
We will completely.
Okay. So we have the productivity kind of system structure. How do we move on? We talked a little bit about the flags of how do you identify that you're busy, right? It's not moving you forward. You're not seeing the results. I want to talk about something that you said as far as that in-between space where you've done all the things, you've been busy, you've been productive, you've got it built, but the results are not in yet. They're coming, right? It's coming. How do you resist the urge? Because this is something I have found for every single person I've ever talked to. How do you resist the urge in that space to be busy and make it come faster?
Well, according to my coach, you get a damn hobby. But this is so real because everything has lag time to it. So think about you launch a new marketing strategy. Even 6 weeks in, data's coming in, but it's not solid data yet. That's still preliminary. End of 3 months, you'll probably have some more solid data to go on. But so it's remembering that and calling a responsible business coach. I was going to say responsible adult. I'm not a responsible adult. Calling a responsible business coach like you or myself to talk them down, because you'll get like 4 or 5 weeks in and be like, it's not happening. And then they'll burn it down and start from scratch and lose any momentum they were starting to build, lose any confidence that was coming with the practice of continuing. It's supporting yourself so you don't get stuck with the what ifs, and then make a rash decision that puts you right back to square one, starting all over again with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you do too. It happens so often. It's that knee jerk, oh my God, this isn't working, and complete overhaul instead of maybe one small little tweak.
This is probably the conversation I have most, or like top 2 conversations of just we're not waiting, right? We're not in that energy of we're waiting for things to come in. We're being patient. Like that is a trigger word for me of be patient. We are in hold. It's coming. Collect the data, right? Like we are collecting data in that first 6 weeks in that example. We're collecting data. And remember that it is this slope, more or less, of how you collect data, that you're not going to get it all in the first week. You're not going to get it all in the first month. 90 days is a really nice, general, safe window. And also, depending on what it is, 90 days is not enough.
No. And that's why it's like, but small business owners and entrepreneurs, you just do this for 90 days. They're like, what? But like, no, you're going to commit to this for 90 days because like you said, sometimes you need much longer of a runway, but at least with something like a 90-day increment, like there's enough solid data to at least give you an informed approach to the next 90 days and the next 90. But yeah, how quick they are to just overhaul absolutely everything and change all the variables. Whew.
I think a lot of it comes from outside pressure and or the internalized external pressure of, especially if someone is on social media. I am 100% throwing Instagram and Facebook under the bus here. And
I'll drive that bus.
and consuming the amount of, I launched and in 30 days I did this amount, or I launched and I was immediately sold out, or pre-launch I had 5 of my 8 spots sold. There's so much highlight reeling that to then sit back and be like, okay, well, I'm 5, 6, 7 weeks into this launch or this campaign or this whatever, and I don't have it yet, or I'm not at my goal, whatever my goal was. I'm not at my goal yet. I must be doing something wrong. Like if this person is saying they're in my industry and this person has gotten these results, I've got to do more. I can't just hold. Like I have that conversation a lot of, okay, but should I just hold? Or what if we just, Chrissy, what if we just add in one little thing? Like should I add in a blog?
No, I'm going to start a podcast. No, I'm going to do this. No. And then they go down that rabbit hole of all like the panic ads of what's going to support this.
So how do you, I'll share mine, but how do you lovingly, kindly, aggressively tell your clients, no, we're not doing this? Like, how do you walk them through that?
Honestly, because most of my clients are coming out of the extreme busy phase, it's pretty easy to just direct them right back to their calendar and be like, well, where is this going to fit? How is this supporting? Usually once they see it doesn't fit, they can be brought back pretty quickly, but sometimes it can be, they're fighting that internal piece of maybe this is it. This need to put more emphasis behind something like this. And it just painting the picture for them. Okay, well, what does that mean for your week? If you want to add a blog, where is it going to fit in your week? Where are your topics going to come from? What's the backup plan? Like what gets taken off your plate? Because we know it's already full. Mm-hmm. And then once they're out of that busy phase, they don't want to add busy stuff to their plate anyways, because they've seen what can happen on the other side.
They have been through the crap.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I do something a little different in that, yes, we talk about how is this fitting in, but more of, okay, let's say that we had whatever this container looked like, and you want to add in, I'm going to go to the blog example, and you want to add in a blog. And that decides, like that ends up being the thing that really does make it work. Mm-hmm. Like that was the missing piece. When we decided what this campaign looked like, we actively decided not to have a blog. That was a conscious decision that we talked about. So if the missing piece is the thing that we've already decided you don't want because you don't want to have to write this thing every week, every month, and it's the linchpin, in 6 months, are you going to absolutely resent the fact that you still have to do this thing? And what does that then look like? How does that fit into the thing that we're building? Because we're never just building today. We're always building today in tandem with where we're going. And that tends to, again, most of the time, there are always exceptions, that tends to give them that jolt of like, oh, I don't want to get into the bad habit of having to create a blog.
Mm-hmm.
So I think similar, but a little bit different of the perspective of like, you can do it.
I love that you bring them back to that original decision, because so often we will reconsider our initial decisions, especially when we're waiting for those results to come in. Well, what if it was the wrong decision? All the what ifs, like they just swirl. And anytime you're starting to doubt any tickle of doubt, you get into these what ifs. And that's why I'm glad we're around, because the what ifs are hard and everyone gets them. And it's easier when you have someone to bounce the what ifs off of, to realize that they're not truth.
That, and also, I'm real fidgety today. I apologize because I had too many things on my calendar today. I think, yes, 100%. And I think one of the things that for me that ties into everything we're talking about is something to shift you out of busy to productive, and also to keep you aligned with what you're doing, stay in the present, hold this really, really uncomfortable space, that liminal space between we're doing the thing and the results of the thing have to come in, is making the decision and then washing your hands. Not this continual, because I think that's a big part of why people stay busy, is this continual rethinking of, did I make the right decision? Mm-hmm. Do I need to change it? Oh, I'm doubting myself. Oh, I'm worrying. Oh, But actually, it's a little bit of self-trust. It's a little bit of that confidence. And it's a lot of just the mindset of, I've got this. It is figure outable. And at the end of the day, I love my business. I have great respect for our businesses. We're not heart surgeons, right? Like, we're not, for the most part, we're not running businesses that truly are life and death. If you make a mistake, it's okay. If you made a bad call, which you're going to make a bad call 100%, part of your job as the business owner, CEO, founder, whatever, is to figure it out. So also just like, to stop being busy, to shift into productive, is make a confident decision and be done.
Yes, so much. And that was one of the other things I was going to say about productive. One of the ways to keep yourself into productive, being very clear on the priorities, very clear on the goals, very clear on what you need to be spending your time on to be in that productive zone. Like, I do quarterly plans. I dial them in week by week, so I know exactly what productive looks like for me for the next 12 weeks, all the time. And then I have a good idea parking lot. So the things that come up that's like, ooh, Michelle wants to do this, she gets parked and revisited when I plan out my next quarter. And then, like you said, it's letting that go. I know exactly what I'm focused on, which is why, again, it's in my pen and paper. I write it out every week. I'm looking at it all the time. And that's how I keep myself in productive. I know exactly what I'm working on because I know exactly what I'm working towards. And I've found other ways to distract me from taking on other things. Not everyone can go buy a farm for distraction purposes, but it works great to keep you out of tinkering with things that don't need tinkering in the business.
If I could also go buy 2 goats just on a whim on a weekend, I feel like that would help me so much, but I have nowhere to put goats.
I have space if you need to impulse purchase some animals.
Just gonna ship them to your house.
Yeah,
a whole time zone away from me. It'll be great. Okay. So I feel like we have talked busy, productive. How do we pull ourselves out? How do we identify what's some of the mindset stuff going on? Some of the strategies and systems. What am I missing that we haven't talked about today? I love that I can tell you're looking at notes.
I am. I am. So we've covered most of the things I wanted to cover too. Okay, back to busy and the fact that I think that the tone of it is changing now, but busy was a badge of honor for a very long time. And especially for business owners, we're doing a whole lot of new stuff that we've never done before because we don't go into business because we're good at business. We go into business because we're good at something. And then it's almost like we're proving it to ourselves, but mostly the outside. Like we're working our butts off, we're working hard, we're doing more because we're proving that we can do this. We're proving we're cut out to be a business owner, and getting into that loop of proving to yourself so you can prove to others, so you can prove to external factors will keep you in a loop that'll keep you busy forever. And now that we're not wearing it as a badge of honor, it can be hard to slow down and be like, well, what does that look like?
I'm glad you brought that up because it is, I think there is multiple things going into that. It is the societal conditioning, right? We are very much deep in the generations deep in the assembly line. You are busy 24/7. The more you do, the better you are. And I agree that I think we're coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're coming out of that. And I think AI is helping and also hurting us so much around. I want to actually talk to you about that in a minute. But yeah, I think it is that. I think it also comes back to that self-trust and that confidence because again, you didn't start your business because you know business. At least most people haven't. So it is that self-doubt of like, can I do this? If I just learn more, if I'm constantly in personal development and constantly learning and adding to my skill sets. But also remembering at the end of the day, you're amazing. Period. Full stop. Like I have a Post-it on my desk upstairs. I'm in the living room today. That says, I am effing amazing. That sits directly underneath my computer.
I love that.
With that reminder of, and it's not an arrogance thing. It is purely a reminder to yourself. You don't need to prove, because your success as an entrepreneur is not how much money you make. Your success is not how many clients you have, how booked out you are. Those are great external factors to be like, hey, I did the thing. Awesome. I'm proud of you. Like celebrating the heck out of you, not just, right? But it's also the fact that you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in your business for a quick 5-minute, 2-year, I'm going to make the first 6 figures and then I'm out. The goalpost always moves.
And usually before you get there.
You're like 60% there and you're like, oh, I can make that a little bit harder.
Right? It's like, oh, I can get that, no problem now. So let's just push it further.
Right. So I think it's just this self-fulfilling, which I think you were leading to, this self-fulfilling, you're never going to be enough. You're never going to do enough. You're never going to be successful enough. And there's a sort of comfort in that. It is the comfort of, we know this, right? We're put on this hamster wheel as young children of do more, be more, and you're better. But like one of the best parts of running your own business is saying F it to the hamster wheel and saying, I actually get to enjoy a life that looks very different, which externally looks very different. And then also internally feels very different. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to go through waves of it feels really good and waves of gross. Just my professional opinion, gross.
Yes. 100%.
And it's business. So also just like reminding yourself again, it's not just what the external results look like and are you busy or are you productive, but also that internal sense of spaciousness, sense of confidence, sense of self.
Totally. And those like success metrics, like the revenue, the clients, the fully booked calendar, and all of that, like, yeah, those are important metrics in and around your business. They all have their place. They are data. They help you make decisions. But those are just the traditional success metrics. As business owners, we get to define what success looks like for us, and that can be seasonal as well too. Where I am right now in my business is not where I was 2 years ago. It's not where I'm going to be 2 years from now. Success has looked wildly different 2 years ago and today, and will likely look different 2 years from now. But when you start defining what those pieces of success are, all of a sudden it's easier to achieve because it's your version of success. I don't need a yacht or like a vacation home somewhere. Maybe one day, but I don't need that. Right now, success for me is being able to work barely 3 days a week, play on the farm, do stuff with the kid, have the freedom and flexibility of my time throughout the summer. For me, that's what success looks right now with a 7-year-old. Ask me in a couple of years, that's going to change. When she doesn't want to hang out with me anymore, I'm going to have different priorities.
You'll have like 5 hobbies and more
exactly. One of them probably chauffeuring her around, I'm assuming.
But I really like that you said that, because so I'm a summer bug. I want to be outside as much as humanly possible in the summer. And I am having a really hard time this year with the heat. Like I'm really struggling personally with heat tolerance in my body. Add to it, I've got some dog stuff going on, which means we're not getting outside, we're not being active. So where my summer season is normally much slower because I'm outside, I'm doing different things, this summer is not that. This summer for me is a haul some ass and get it done.
Nice.
Like, I'm planning my fall to be much quieter than it normally is. And so it's not only just, yeah, we build in the big seasons, right? The 2-year seasons, It's also, this changed a month ago. The summer I thought I was going to have is not the summer I'm going to have. But adding in and redefining what those success metrics look like, redefining what productive is, redefining what the bare minimum is each week, my June and July look radically different than they have in the past 4 years. And that's okay, right? It's also not beating yourself up that it looks different than you thought it did. It's a little bit going with the flow. I kind of hate that phrase, but adapting to the reality while also remembering that you get to shape what that reality looks like and what that reality means.
Totally. And nothing irks me more than when things don't go according to plan, even though they never do. But I am a planner. I make these beautiful plans. They're structured. They've got their metrics. They've got their milestones. I am great at planning. And then nothing ever goes to plan. And I almost take it personally. Like, didn't you see how good the plan was? Like, it was so laid out so nicely. But having yourself in a position where it's like, okay, this is no longer the plan because X, Y, Z has changed. And then being able to sit down and rework it so it's still going to work for you and the new adjustments you have. And okay, so now you're going to be busier throughout the summer. As a Canadian that doesn't do well in extreme heat, I would be hiding as well. And then you get an easier fall when that's usually like, I know my fall ramps up and it coincides well with the kid going back to school. And then I've got all the time. But again, the seasonality, you get to plan in and around that. And that's what we go into business for. The freedom and flexibility to be like, yeah, this is my new reality. I'm going to fit my business around it because my life comes first. And that's one of my favorite things about our generation and where we are about business. We're not waiting for retirement to enjoy our lives. We're doing it at the same time as building the business and living these parts of our lives, because I hate to be dramatic, but retirement isn't promised. Tomorrow isn't promised. I'm going to be real upset if something happens in a couple of years and I was too busy, blinders on, not doing anything to stop and have the fun with my kid, to stop and smell the roses that are outside my front door that remind me to do it every time I leave. Like there's a big shift that our generation, not just our generation, but we see it heavily in ours, that is really shifting into this. We're going to enjoy life as we're doing it, not when our career dictates we can.
Or when we've made the six figures, when we've made the when we hit the goalpost that we're never going to hit because we keep saying, oh, it's here. It's
I'd love to dig into the psychology behind it, because we are go-getters, right? Like it's great to hit and crush your goals. But as you see yourself getting that momentum, I find I'll get like 75% of the way and be like, oh, I'm going to hit that. So let's just kick it way further down. It's like, why can't I give myself the satisfaction of just sitting with that for a bit?
I used to run. I did track in high school, and I ran middle distance. And when I was training, it was always, okay, that stop sign. Keep going until that stop sign. And then you get closer and you're closer and you hit it and you're like, I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to keep going until the next stop sign and the next stop. And I would push it until I started getting shin splints. And my body was like, no, we're done. Like you're 8. Nope, we're done. You're not even making it to the first stop sign. And for me, because I have that very physical, like I swear my shins still were just like poke up and be like, you're doing it again. I have that very physical response to the goalpost always moving, being like, well, I can hit that easily. Like I know that goal is done by like the 3rd week of the month. And we push it. But also having that very physical reminder of like, this next stop sign is great, but also we can hit the first one and then decide, what does the data tell us, right? Going back to our previous card, what does the data show us? Do we actually want that next stop sign? Maybe, great. Maybe you really are feeling good. Keep going. Maybe your body is like, I can't breathe. And I am constantly just breathing up here, not down in my belly. But if all you're doing is constantly pushing and pushing and pushing for that next stop sign, the next goalpost, you don't actually give yourself that chance to sit and reflect on the data that you've been busting your butt collecting. So you're basically just telling yourself it was a waste of time to do the things that you were doing to make the business better. Why would you make yourself feel crazy like that?
Because it's so easy. And the nice thing is I am surrounded by people that do help me slow down and appreciate the things, especially when I try to blast over them. So like surrounding yourself with good business friends is great, because yes, I have people that will be like, hold up, we're going to celebrate that for a second before you just continue on. And I so appreciate it, because I do it for other people too, but it's so easy to get caught up in, well, it's working, let's just keep going.
Right. Like it can work and be amazing. And also you can actually sit and enjoy it and not constantly be pushing for the next thing.
And I'm going to have to start learning to sit with it, like more intentionally and more than when just other people are like, hey, wait a minute. And I know this, and this is why coaches have coaches and good friends.
Okay. I know we're at time, but I have one more question if you have time.
Okay. Of course.
I want to touch on, I think this is going to end up being a much larger conversation, but I want to touch on the idea of AI and busy versus productive, because I know that there's so much around what ChatGPT, what Claude, whatever model you're using can help solopreneurs. I really want to focus on the one-person shops, solopreneurs streamline, optimize, organize in their business so that they can stay in their zone of genius.
Mm-hmm.
I have very loud opinions on this. What are your thoughts on this?
AI is completely unavoidable. It is. And as solopreneurs, there are so many places it can be a really helpful tool, but we're seeing a lot of people putting it in the place of like an employed position, not a support piece. And we've seen it, garbage in, garbage out. We've seen the AI slop going all over the place. LinkedIn has been interesting when you see the AI generated DMs and comments, and it's like, okay. And don't get me wrong, there's a place for it. And if it's going to help you in your business with, either planning or strategizing or organizing, but it should not be out there doing the business stuff for you, because we are humans and we need that human piece of that. I think it is great for brainstorming and bouncing ideas and honing half-baked thoughts like that are spilling out. Like there's some really great potential for it to be supportive in that way. But I'm finding it's getting so cold, and like it's losing that human touch. I don't care if Claude writes more like a person than ChatGPT. There are specific things with it that it's removing the person. Mm-hmm. And I think it's already had a big effect on the whole lack of trust recession, whatever you want to call it. That's just amplifying how quickly that distrust grows. Mm-hmm. What are your opinions?
I have very loud opinions. So I agree that I think AI is inevitable. Mm-hmm. It's here. We're not undoing it from a society perspective. I'm going to ignore the legal ramifications of things. I think it's a really great tool that almost no one knows how to use, that even fewer people are taking a step back and thinking through how to use it or whether it's right for them to use. And then they're just jumping into there's this cool thing that I can do and it's going to help me. Mm-hmm. Without thinking through, like you said, is it a support function? Is it a strategy function? Is it a human function? I absolutely agree that it should not be doing. AI comments drive me up a wall.
Don't send me an AI DM. Just don't.
What is the point? If you're using networking or relationship building in that way,
you can't have a robot build the relationship for you.
Right. Like it was bad enough when there were the days of like VAs doing lead gen for you and they would have the whole conversation. And then a week into it, you'd actually come in and start talking and it would be this huge shift, right? That was bad enough. But now we're having machines do it and it erodes the trust, everything that you said. I actually really, really hate it from a strategy perspective.
Tell me more.
I think it can be, I have thoughts. I think it can be beneficial and helpful for brainstorming, mm-hmm. even over other people. Like I love getting on a call with the people I trust and being like, here's the thing. Can you help me, instead of me thinking right here, can you help me kind of think and expand? And I think AI can go even further than that because it has even more access to data points and ideas and different things that even like our closest friends and colleagues are not going to have. So I think it's really nice there. But most people are not prompting it well enough, or they're not then thinking through the recommendations. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I've played around with it from a personal perspective and a business perspective and been like, here's the situation, here's where I'm going, these are my goals, tell me what I'm missing. And I've played with it, right? Here's the information, here's what I want, here's the detail, tell me what you need from me, for you to give me a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm walking away with recommendations that don't make sense. Ideas that say, hey, you want to scale to this dollar amount? Great, go put in a group program. I don't want to do a group program. I can't go as deep with my people if there are 4 of them in the room versus 1. And you can iterate back and forth all you want, and it is still basing strategy recommendations off of everything without the proper, it's not true generative AI, right? Like we're not there. Yeah. It's not true generative. So it's giving you all of this stuff without the proper filters. And then I think so many entrepreneurs are so deep in the weeds of the busy that they're like, okay, great, that makes enough sense. I'm going to run with it. So I think it can be helpful. And I think it's a really, really icy, snowy, melted and iced again, slippery slope.
Totally.
Because I think then the last thing I'll add there is I think entrepreneurs who are constantly using it like that, not really having the time or the space to think and are then setting themselves up for future mistakes, issues, failures of, well, I can just rely on the system and I've built it and I prompted it and it knows my business and It's a machine that is built on garbage in, unfiltered, mass, non-customized garbage in. So then you get months and months or years down the line, and there's so much more to undo because you've done so much more that when you finally hit that point of like, I need a person, you're putting yourself even further behind the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave it there because like, I don't.
No, and you're like, and that's the thing. There's so many parts of it that we're still learning about and that are still developing so quickly. And there are some people that are using it really well and that have taken the time to figure out how to harness it, to use it really well, to the point where it is a great supportive tool or almost undetectable or supporting specific things. But so many people are just jumping right in and winging it. And like you said, in the long run, it's going to have effects on them and their business and their confidence and their abilities. Like, think of the people that are relying on it super heavy for very, very important parts. If it was to disappear tomorrow, what do they do? It's like people promoting having an email list because you own it, because if Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn disappear tomorrow, what do you do? And so if you ask yourself, if this disappears tomorrow, what would I do? When you start to panic, you need a better backup plan.
I like it. You're in that spot of you are busy, to tie it all the way back. You're in that spot of you are constantly, you're not necessarily productive because you don't have that backup plan.
Exactly. And being busy using AI in your business is different than having AI support you as a productivity tool or on that side. And again, it's different for every business owner, everyone's specific outcomes. And so there's, just like anything in business, there's no one easy right answer to any of it, but it's really knowing what it is you're doing with it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This has been the highlight of my day. I love it. This was
so good. This wraps up my week because it's the last day of school and I'm taking tomorrow off. So thank you. This was the cherry on top of a week that went very well. And I'm just really happy that we got to sit here and talk about all of this.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, thank you for being here. Have such a fabulous day tomorrow.
Thank you.
2, for anyone catching the replay on this and you have questions, you have thoughts, If you have loud thoughts, stick them in the comments. Michelle and I will absolutely respond. And then the third thing is, I know that you had mentioned something earlier about the strategic planning and the quarterly planning. We talked a lot about 90-day chunks.
Mm-hmm.
You have an opportunity next week for people. Can you tell us about this opportunity and these 90-day chunks?
You bet. So every quarter, I offer a quarterly planning session where we just come together. We walk through the steps of taking a look at how last quarter went, what we're working on this quarter, mapping it out. It's 90 minutes, and you walk away with a full quarterly plan that you can then execute easily over the next 12 weeks as life and summers and businesses. It's happening on Monday, the 29th at, I believe it is 1 p.m. Mountain Time, because time zones are the thing that really don't help my brain. And it's free. There's no replay. There's no slides. It's just coming together to plan with a bunch of other business owners that want to get the most out of their next 90 days.
I will be there. I am signed up for this, for that external accountability of my butt will be there Monday at 3:00, because Mondays are my business personal days.
I love it. And I purely did this for my own accountability. So I do my own quarterly plans. Now I have to do them publicly to make sure they're done.
I love this. Okay. If you have any questions, comment, DM either one of us. This was fabulous. We will be back at some point soon talking about more things. And that's really it. Thank you so much. I think this was a really good conversation.
I love this so much. Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you.